Uh, Hello and welcome to Tharstern's Tech Chat. I'm pleased to be joined today by our workflow and solution specialist, John Murphy. And John is going to tell us a little bit today about one of our options called Layout Library. And John, could you tell us what Layout Library is, please?
Yes, of course. Hello, Ross. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. So the Layout Library is a tool or a module within Tharstern environment that allows us to create bespoke and custom layouts inside Tharstern. So when an estimate is created, instead of using the logic that we have embedded within Tharstern to calculate gaps and so on and so forth, you can actually override it with something bespoke and come up with a customized solution.
Okay. So in what instances can we use that then?
So
why would somebody want to use the Layout Library?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I've worked in JDF for many years, and almost every single site that you come to has their own particular, often unique way of working. You know, specific gaps or a specific laydown that is dependent on a optimizing production, or maybe a piece of equipment that they've inherited for years that runs particularly well if the sheet is laid down a particular way. So what the Layout Library gives you the ability to do is to create laydowns, if templates, if you like, that work with them. But the big benefit of the Layout Library is that it's not page size specific. So it has an auto trim mechanism in it, which means that you can cement some values on the laydown. So to give you an example, you could say, right, I want to have, you know, 1/2 inch or 25 mil in the head, which you could then set as a static field. And then the face trim and the foot trim can then become a variable that's auto calculated. So setting up one template can work on a whole range of page sizes. So yeah, so pretty powerful tool, very powerful tool, predominantly used for bound work. So we normally use it to set up a set of rules for stitch brochures and perfect bound products. And then once we've set them up and get them rocking and rolling, you can then use them for unbound components as well to create specific laydown. So a good example of that might be when, let's say, you do a job on a regular basis that is going out for a special bit of finishing, something like laminating or something like that. You can create a profile that when you have a certain press on a certain sheet size and somebody hits the option for laminating, then the layout is then adjusted not to optimize the press, but maybe to optimize the laminator as you go down as along. So I would say that you use the Layout Library to create rules for saddle stitch perfect bound jobs. And then you use the Layout Library to use the exceptions, if you like, for flat and folded products, because often what Tharstern comes up with on flat and folded products is more than appropriate. You know, in most cases, you just want to make sure that it fits on the sheet.
Yeah. Okay. So it's enhancing your estimating engine, then, is it? By the sounds of it, to cater for more scenarios. The more tricky scenarios, would it be, or that you want to do in a different way than?
I don't know whether it's tricky is the right word. I think so in the scenario I just gave you, it's often that I'm not going to make that mistake again. You know, we've laid it down wrong. We've done it, put it on the shop floor. Yes. We've had a big moan up, but we've had a big inquisition. Instead of putting another check-in process in place, what you can do is you can put in place a profile that will pick this up should that scenario ever happen again. So you can then learn from it that way.
So in effect, you're teaching the system.
You're teaching the system, and this is where the big success of it has come, really, is that actually really brings together production and estimating. If you think about how our estimating engine works, you know, if I go and, let's say, for argument's sake, I'm doing a saddle stitch text section self-covered job, and I go and put in a material that comes in B1 down to SRA3 in size, and I specify 3 or 4 different pieces of equipment, you know, from a small B3, small format digital machine right up to a large format press. When I hit calculate, Tharstern Estimating will go off and explore all of those possibilities, literally all of those possibilities, and we'll go through them all, and we'll actually come back with scenarios for the top 20, top 15, top 20, to whatever you've got it set to. Yeah. So actually it comes back with some of the weird and wonderfuls, and you do find that of the top solution that's selected to you, that's given to you, is not the way that your company ordinarily does business. So what the layout library gives you the ability to do is to cut through all of that, is to create a set of layout profiles, maybe one digital, one conventional, that when the quantity of the job's right and the size of the amount of pages are right and the substrate's right, when it comes into those, instead of it coming back with 20 solutions, it just comes back with 1, 2, or possibly 3 production approved laydowns that that when you select them and hit OK, is then going to create not only a brilliant estimate, which is right, and the way you're going to manufacture the job, but also going to create tip-top presetting data downstream.
Mm-hmm. So if I understand that correctly, Jan, what we're saying is that the majority of the time, the estimation engineer is going to come out with the right solution for you. That you, based on how the system has been configured, based on your production kit, your production capabilities, and all the rest. So it's going to, the estimation engineer is going to do the thinking for you and come out with a choice of different manufacturing solutions. You can, and the majority of the time that's going to be how you want that to be as a business. But there are some scenarios where that might not be the case because of more specific reasons or something, or it might be you just have a different way you want to manufacture that particular product.
Absolutely.
And so this is where you can train the system and put them rules in place so that your estimators or estimating team don't have to remember these intricate rules that in this scenario we have to remember that we'd pivot the way down a different way. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I mean, every business I've ever worked in has always had the production guru. They were the guys who go in and produce, that's a tricky laydown, we better run that past the guru, and they create a laydown for it. They create laydowns, and you get into a habit, and then what that creates is a funnel where everything's having to go through that one individual, which is obviously stressful for them, not good for them because they're not able to do it, and obviously debilitating for everybody else because you're having to wait for him all the time. Much better to get his production experience built into a set of profiles inside Tharstern Estimating, and then just key in the end result, and then you're pulling in all of that years of experience coming into them. I mean, when I said earlier that we have 20 solutions that Tharstern Estimating comes back with, that is true. It does do that, no question, but it's and actually all 20 of those are okay. They will work, viable. They will go through. It's just not the way that business does that kind of job.
Yeah, so it's kind of for the exceptions.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Which is clever stuff then, because that's, I think, as we've talked before in other sessions, that's kind of the challenge with automation sometimes, that you can only automate so much in terms of a JDF workflow and submitting that into the pre-press workflow and production workflow. There's only so many that you can do, but this then surely that increases that capability to automate more.
During the last 12 months, I've worked on a lot of these layout library projects, and when you consider I've been doing this for quite some years now, I have never, without this product, been able to get projects to the point that they are now. I mean, we have several customers who are in position wise more than sort of 85% automated now, with their stuff coming into pre-press and going down, which is an enormous win, an enormous gain. That was not always the case.
Powerful stuff then. Powerful stuff. All right, John, well, thank you very much for sharing that with us today. It's good to understand a little bit more about what the layout library is and how you can effectively teach a system exceptions to the rule and help to automate more of your work. So that's really good. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you've enjoyed that. If you have any questions, then meet us in the comments below. And if you any questions you'd like to cover us in the next tech chat, then again, just get in touch or drop a comment below, and we'll try to answer them for you. Thanks. Have a great day.